Alright, Super Thracia, Chapter 24X. Vanilla Chapter 24X is probably my least favorite chapter in the series, and ironically enough, I probably don't like this chapter as much as I don't like that one, if that makes any sense. This chapter's still pretty stupid. I'm just gonna go to a save state where I have everything important lit up, instead of just even bothering with this first turn. It's still a fog of war map, of course, and the map is pretty much just like a couple of corridors over complete darkness with a bunch of rooms around the edges. I'm gonna talk about the 4 corner rooms first, because there's notable bosses in each of them, and then I'll talk about Ivel and a few other notable things. In this bottom left room is Reinhardt. He decided to ditch his horse and pick up some heavy armor. He's fairly dangerous, but honestly, probably not as dangerous as he is in Vanilla, ironically enough. Over to the right is Sias, since he wasn't recruitable and he's now here, and you kill him. The Berserk Staff is probably the most annoying part about him, also the fact that Purge is 20, that's 40 crit. This hack has a penchant for giving things ridiculous crit, it sucks. Over in the top left is Scorpio, who's the young bee guy who shows up when you try to go to Frege in FE4. In FE4 binary, he comes with the U-Fel, but I mean here, that wouldn't make sense because the U-Fel is in player's possession. He's not all that dangerous, he just has a bunch of bows. And then in the top left is Brian, who's also in FE4's endgame. He's the Dozel guy with the Hellswath. I'm surprised that this hack didn't up and give him the Hellswath as well, honestly. Now then, there's 2 other notable enemies to talk about. The boss is Izuka. He has the Bylystir, which is kind of his main thing. His stats aren't as impressive as Gauls were in 23, but the Bylystir just makes him so much worse because it's 200 hit, so you basically just kind of don't dodge. And it also stones, because, you know, who doesn't love that, especially since the Kaia staff is, at present, unobtainable. I'll talk about the kind of like escaping gimmick in a second. And then over here is Julius. He's actually recruitable. You recruit him with Ishtar. His stats are pretty good. I give him a speed ring and he's pretty much set for endgame, honestly, and so are his weapon ranks, but he runs into the issue in that he has 0 movement for some reason. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to have 6, but he just has 0 for some reason. Like I said, his weapon ranks are pretty good, but although I feel like it's kind of disappointing that he doesn't have A Dark. I feel like he should, given that he's, you know, Julius. Now then, Ivel. She's guarded by Verdugo, and then it's the same basic principles in Vanilla. What you would do is you use the Kaia staff to unstone her and talk to her with Leaf or Marita, except, you know, the Kaia staff is unobtainable unless you hack it in some capacity, so she's just kind of stuck there. Alright, what am I forgetting? In all 4 of these corner rooms, there's stairways that reinforcements come from pretty much every turn. It's a great way to get experience if you want to just stick around and kill a bunch of these guys, because none of them are all too incredibly dangerous, but there are also Novicidor reinforcements that just kind of appear from the nothingness, and they're much more annoying, especially since they come with a variety of weapons. Like, some of them have Lamfadas, which kinda sucks. Now, the escape gimmick for this chapter, this platform where Izuka is, there's no, like, bridge here, it's just kind of suspended in the middle of it. How you would get there is that all the bosses in the corner rooms start on tiles that if you have someone stand on them, they would get warped to one of these 4 tiles, at which point they could attack Izuka, and then the escape point is the tile he's standing on. Alternatively, once he's dead, you could get away with using, like, the warp staff. But of course, therein lies the issue of killing Izuka. Additionally, what was I gonna say? Yeah, there's a bunch of warp tiles just like around the map in general, just like Vanilla 24X. And then what else am I don't think I'm forgetting anything else as it is. This map, like I said, it's weirdly enough, it's actually not that bad. Like, it's still pretty bad, but I feel like it isn't as ridiculous as some of the other chapters in this hack. It's a great way to it's pretty much your last chance to get a bunch of experience if you want to. None of the enemies are all obscenely difficult at this point. There's not as many of them as there were in just 24. And at the very least, they're more spaced out instead of that whole, like, brick of Daedalords and Novicidors that were in 24. Izuka really is the main issue here, and that's because, you know, stone and pretty much undodgeable. Real nice. And, you know, the warp gimmick's pretty annoying. But that's really it for this chapter. Because, actually, no, these chests, they don't really have anything of note. But yeah, that's actually it for this chapter. There's nothing more of note to talk about here. Guess I'll see you in the endgame.